and when we talk about purpose, it's not just a financial result or expectations of the street or the market, right? That may resonate with executives, but what we're really talking about with purpose is something that can rally, tens of thousands of people to accomplish things that they didn't think were possible. And that's the desire. And so really a purpose about societal impact.
Welcome back to the Inspire CIO podcast. I'm your host, Dogger Miller. This podcast exists to highlight the high-level technology leaders that are a part of the Inspire CIO Leadership Network. The topic is always leadership, and the goal is always to inspire CIOs to achieve their leadership potential. Today's conversation features 2021 South Florida Orby winner Jay Smith, CIO and Head of Innovation at TracFone Wireless. Jonathan Fry, President of Inspire CIO, had the pleasure of sitting down with Jay to discuss establishing a purpose that has societal impact. So now, please welcome Jonathan Fry and Jay Smith.
Jay, thank you so much for being here today and being on our podcast and sharing a bit of your story. You've got a fascinating background and an impressive career by any stretch. Why don't you take us back? Tell us a little bit about how you got interested in technology and a little bit about your career journey.
Yeah, it's nice. Well, first of all, thank you, Jonathan, for having me. I always enjoy to have, conversations about, technology and culture and talent and those kinds of things. I'm very passionate about it. So thank you for your time. My journey really started when I was younger. I was always interested in math and science as a student, right? And then that kind of transformed into engineering, computer engineering at the University of Central Florida. Born and raised in South Florida and really love it here. And then I had the opportunity to co-op, right, or intern at Lockheed Martin Space Operations. Wow. And that was at that Cape Kennedy Space Center, NASA, literally launching rockets. And so it was a great intro to computers and technology. My father was the head of quality at Grumman, which was also based at Cape Kennedy Space Center. So I guess it ran in the family. And I never really looked back. And so that was the beginning of a great career. And I'm super, super thankful for that opportunity.
That's awesome. So a family of rocket scientists. I don't think many can say that. That's tremendous. So Jay, I know that you are a passionate leader. It doesn't take anyone more than 5 minutes to have a conversation with you to recognize that. I know you love motivating teams. You love building high-performing teams, and certainly something that you have done at TracFone, now part of Verizon, which has been an exciting transition. So I know that you have got some principles that are near and dear to your heart that you've kind of carried with you. And they are establishing purpose, creating culture, and fostering innovation. And I know you are passionate about these. Why don't we take some time and unpack each of those and how you see that incorporates into your team and your leadership style. And we'll start with establishing purpose. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's incredibly important. And when we talk about purpose, it's not just a financial result or expectations of the street or the market, right? That may resonate with executives, but what we're really talking about with purpose is something that can rally, tens of thousands of people to accomplish things that they didn't think were possible. And that's the desire. And so really a purpose about societal impact. And I'll give you an example from TracFone, which is coverage and access for all. And notice how mobility is not in there, right? Yeah. It's coverage and access for all. And as you might know, our customers, a segment of them are, the less fortunate customers. And so they need our services more than ever. And we really get inspired by a purpose that touches that vulnerable segment of the population and brings them access to things that they otherwise would never have, things that you and I enjoy. And what I see when organizations establish that grander purpose is it is something that gives people the ability, the team members, the ability to wake up in the morning feeling inspired, to go to work feeling safe, and to come home feeling fulfilled. And so that is the reason why we do it. It inspires me. It inspires our leadership team and everyone around us. And really, at the end of the day, helps us all be the best version of ourselves and deliver results, not only for our business, but more importantly, our customers.
Yeah, that's so interesting. It's not just the hospitals and the nonprofits that have purpose behind what they are doing. And at first glance, you think, oh, well, they're prepaid cell phones. Wait, what is the purpose behind that other than, generating revenue? I love how you have tied it back to a purpose. We are a purpose-driven company as well. And I think it is one of our differentiators internally about how to motivate people. I just love that. All right. So along with purpose, you establish this purpose and then creating culture. I know you're big on driving culture and excitement. Tell us a little bit about how you do that and the impacts that you have seen by creating culture within your organization.
Absolutely. So if the audience could see me, they would see the big smile on my face, because culture is the foundation of everything. And the simply put, culture is, in my opinion, the number one responsibility of a leader. And it's really about creating an environment for others to flourish. And I love that word, flourish, right? And it touches diversity, and it touches inclusiveness, and it touches the environment to inspire everyone. And so when you match a culture where people feel safe, they feel okay being vulnerable when they make a mistake, because making mistakes is how you learn and how you grow. And you have an environment that fosters failing fast, because when you fail, you learn and grow, right? And so this culture of safety, empowerment, trust, and letting the people closest to the work do the right thing and make the decisions. It's no longer a hierarchy, right? And the people at the top are really in service of the frontline folks that are doing the job for our customers. And so that culture is really the fertile ground that I would say allows everyone to flourish, and matched with that purpose is magic.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. So you create this very focused purpose, so you feel good about coming to work and what you're doing. And then you create this culture that, I love the word that you use, safe to innovate, safe to make mistakes, safe to try, and doing that through an attitude of service, that you are serving your constituents, whether it is the people within the business or your end user customer. It's this mentality of service. And then your last value that you speak to, I think is really, a principle is really interesting as well. This whole idea of innovation. So you create this purpose, you create a safe environment, and then you overlay this with, hey, we want you to innovate. We want you to step and try new things. This isn't, hey, just go by the book of what we just said, figure out a way to do things better. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, and I will. And it's another one that's near and dear to me. And I like the order that we've gone in terms of the conversation, because you need to have the purpose in place and to really invigorate the team and the talent you have. And then you need the culture in place to really provide the foundation so that you can innovate. So the innovation is the outcome of a grander purpose and a modern progressive culture. And when we think about innovation, it's taking risk, right? When you innovate, it's taking risk. And so introducing a mindset of, we as executives don't know what the answer is when it comes to what our customers want. We need to talk to our customers, right? And we need to experiment with our customers, and we need to be open that the first attempt at a product or service may not be the right one. And that's about embracing what we call pivoting or perish. So an idea, we have another saying that, don't fall in love with an idea, because more than likely that idea is either going to need to change or maybe perish based on customer desirability. And so having this process that de-risks products and services by incrementally investing very low amount, until you have the desirability piece of the customer feedback. Once you get that, then you move further in the product life cycle, investing more as you know more from direct customer feedback. And that would be the kind of golden nugget. If I could leave the audience with one thing around innovation, is it's about managing risk. It's about making calculated bets of investment, and it's about incrementally investing as customers show you through their actions, not research, through their actions, that they're interested in a particular product or service. And so we have been able to launch very successful products in the financial services space, in the healthcare space, in adjacent markets, which, as you know, when you think about mobility, it's a very saturated competitive market. Sure. Right. Yeah. And so it's important to our customers and to our business that we provide not only mobility, but we provide other things that they need, very specific value customer pain points. So I'll give you a couple examples. Yeah. Some of our customers don't have credit and they're looking to build credit. Some of our customers are over in debt and they need help getting out through education and other services. Some of our customers are uninsured. They don't have health care. And so bringing them access to affordable doctor visits, right, through telehealth measures, things like that, with very specific value propositions that resonate with that customer base, our customer base. Yeah. We have a saying that's serving the underserved. Yeah. And that, again, just when you think about that, you think about, okay, we want to grow to 20 billion in revenue, right? Okay. Well, no, we want to make an impact on the most vulnerable segment of the market, and we want to serve the underserved. Which one gets you more excited? Yeah. Yeah. Right. And one leads to the other. When you focus on innovation and you focus on that purpose and the culture, like we just discussed, that creates the financial result. And that would be another really important thing, I think, for at least in my journey, that has really helped me maintain the focus on what's important. The financial results follow. Yeah.
That's so interesting, especially in the mobility market, where you're looking at, oh no, we're just going to provide the phone for the lowest cost. You've segmented that down and no, how can we serve this customer more effectively in their day-to-day lives, which gives more validity to the purpose of what you are doing. And then talk a little bit, you said something that struck me that was very interesting. It sounds like you are not starting a project 1 month, putting a whole bunch of money, all your chips on the table, and we'll come see what it looks like 12 months later. It sounds like you're taking very purposeful, small incremental bets.
Yes. And that is by design. And so, when you come up with a new idea and it's very early in its infancy, you don't know if it's going to resonate with customers. There's a massive amount of risk. But as you progress and as you test and experiment and you get customer feedback, the risk reduces. And so you make limited investments early with low cost experiments, prototypes, etc. And as you progress through the journey of really seeing customer desirability, then you up the investment when the risk is reducing. And so that is absolutely the way to go in terms of new product development. And it's the way to ensure your investments return value, not only for the business, but more importantly for your customer. And then there's one other thing I would mention that's part of innovation, and it's the entrepreneurial spirit. And there's something I'm very proud of that we were able to do at TrackPhone as part of our innovation practice, which I have the good fortune to lead. And that is, the concept of an entrepreneur is you're hungry. And if you don't make the business work, you may not be successful in your career. I mean, literally, the stakes are high. Yeah. And so the way we described TrackPhone was our revenues were $8 billion roughly. And so we were saying we are a $8 billion startup. We are hungry like a startup. Yeah. We need to be entrepreneurial in our thinking. We need to be relentless on the customer and what they want and what they need. Yeah. We just happen to have an engine that produces $8 billion of revenue. And by the way, some funding. So we've got
Yeah,
the best
right,
of both
right.
worlds.
Yes,
But
you
if
do.
you don't get that, what can happen, and you've probably read The Innovator's Dilemma, what can
Yep.
happen is you get satisfied with your success and you stop taking risk and you stop being bold and you get complacent, and that means you die. And
Yeah.
so we don't let that happen. In my career, I'm very cognizant of continue to embrace change, continue to take risk, calculated risk,
Yep.
be bold, and be hungry. And that has
Yeah.
always been a good recipe for me.
I think that's just wise counsel, and there's carnage. We know the Kodaks of the world, the companies that had seemingly everything, the Sears, that are struggling now. All the tools were in place, but it seemed to have lost that edge in that hunger. I love that saying. So establishing purpose, creating culture, and then fostering innovation, and having that mindset of a startup to where you got to make payroll next week if we don't satisfy our customer. We got to make sure that we do that. I love that. All right. So Jay, you are an innovator. You are a passionate leader. You have really, when you became part of Verizon with TracFone, that's a little bit of a startup. That's a huge culture change within, as you've said, a multi-billion-dollar organization. What advice do you have for either the current CIO leaders who have incredibly difficult job, or those that are up and coming or perhaps new in the role? What would be some advice that you would give them on their career?
Yeah, it's a good question. And so what immediately comes to mind is this new progressive leadership style of it's not about the hierarchy. It's not about the people that that report to you. It's about the people you're responsible for caring for.
That's
And
great.
so that servant leader, although it's a bit cliche and overused, truly embracing that delivers the best results and helps everyone be the best version of themselves. And so the leadership style of empowerment trust is really, really important. And so that would be one. Number two would be to lead by example and walk the walk, as I like to say. And when you do that, and you do that publicly, and whether it's humility, vulnerability, it's celebration, recognition, and acknowledgement of when you fall short, right?
Yep.
All of that I think is critically important, because leading by example is an expected leadership attribute. And if you don't do it, it's very hard to get credibility and maintain a positive reputation. The other one would be aim high. Aim high.
Yeah.
You only reach as high as you aim. And this is another saying that I say often to my team is, you only reach as high as you aim. Let's reach for the stars. If we land on the moon, that's not a bad destination.
Right.
So those would be the three that immediately come to mind.
I love it. And it's so interesting, especially in the CIO role right now. Things are changing so rapidly. You quickly outpace your technology knowledge. I mean, you probably did years ago. And so it's relying on that team and looking for them for innovation and ideas, and not relying on yourself to know all the answers. And I think that's a challenging shift for folks to do. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, Jonathan, let me give you this just to that point.
Yeah,
There's a book by David Marquette called Turn This Ship Around. And just in short, he is the captain of a nuclear submarine, of which he knows nothing about. And his leadership, relying on his team, right? He had to, because he didn't understand what, the details of the nuclear sub, but he was able to, through his leadership and through his trust in his people, actually successfully navigate the situation. And so that's just one example of your point.
No, and I think that's the way the leading CIOs now have made that transition, that they recognize it's not what they know, it's who they know and what their teams and connections know to help them solve what are very, very complex business problems today.
And there's no executive better positioned in today's world to be a true business leader. So in my opinion, the route from CIO to CEO is there's no better time in the history of our world than right now. And it's only going to get better because, as you said, technology is infused in everything we do. The lines between business and technology are blurring. It's accelerating exponentially. And the fact that we are in the position of understanding technology and understanding how to leverage it for business and customer outcomes makes us perfectly positioned to take on broader business responsibilities and to be in that CEO chair one day, or that board chair.
Yes. Well, I will tell you this. We see this across the country, and it's innovators like yourself that understand the role of leadership within an organization and innovation and culture and all the things that and values that are becoming the COOs, that are becoming presidents of lines of business, that are eventually becoming CEOs. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that. You all touch every aspect of the business like no one else does. The CFO certainly does and understands it from a financial standpoint, but you all, the CIOs of today, understand it from an organizational standpoint as well as from an operational standpoint, which is a unique piece in the business world today. So exciting. These are exciting times to be a CIO. So really, Jay, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's fascinating. I know we are going to be hearing more about you and of you in years to come. And congratulations on all that you have done with TracFone and now Verizon. So thank you again for being with us here today.
And thank you for having me, Jonathan. It was a very interesting, invigorating conversation, and I appreciate and enjoy the time we've had together.
Thank you to Jay Smith of TracFone Wireless for sharing your incredible leadership insights. And thank you, listeners, for joining us today. I hope you all are inspired. If you're a CIO looking to grow your network of trusted CIO peer relationships with people like Jay, please visit inspirecio.com/podcast to find a chapter near you. Thank you for listening to the Inspire CIO podcast. Join us next week when we'll revisit a compilation of this season's best philosophies, professional struggles, and greatest triumphs from Inspire CIO members. And make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, we'll be here because the answer's in the room, and we're glad you are too.